Good to see you again. The title of this second tip is The French Mathematics of L'article Contractif. The French Mathematics of L'article Contractif. Now, you will be considering that how did we come about mathematics in French? You will soon find out. Now, consider the questions on the screen briefly to know alpha. Then by the end of the lesson, you should be able to provide accurate answers to them. Okay, just consider them, practice with them. Now, for you to do this, how do you go about it? L'article contractif is a combination of preposition à, which means to or at, and definite article. Now, when we talk about contractive, it comes from the sense of a squeezing, a joining together. That's why we call it, that's why we are giving that title to it as French mathematics. Okay, now what are we joining together? What are we combining together? We are combining the article a, okay? We are joining it to lo, la, el apostrophe, and le, as we took in the first tip. Now, first, we have masculine singular. So how do you say at the something? Of course, you know that all nouns in French, they have gender, either masculine or feminine. So now if you are going somewhere and that place is masculine, how will you say, I'm going to the so-so place, or I am at the place? Okay, I'm at this particular place. So we have a plus le, that will give you o. That means that, for example, if you are going to the cinema in French is masculine. You cannot say je vais au cinéma. No, you can say je vais is I am going. Then to the, you cannot say allo. So there has to be a contraction, a squeezing together. So you add a and lo together, it becomes o, au. All right. Then for the feminine singular, we have Allah. That one will remain the same. Allah. Okay. Feminine singular, Allah. Then before a vowel sound or a silent H, as we took that in the first step, a plus L apostrophe, okay? So that will remain as well, just like we did for Allah. It remains as well. For example, you are going to the hotel. Je vais à l'hôtel. There is no change. To is a, then the hotel is l'hôtel, à l'hôtel. Then for the plural for all the categories, we have a plus le. That will give you o, okay? For example, if where you are going is plural, just like United States of America, that's plural, United States. So you cannot say je vais aller. No, you have to join it together. It becomes O, and that your O is X. Now look at masculine singular, O without X, and plural for the categories, O with X, but in pronunciation, you will not say ox, no, you say O. Now, for example, I gave an example there. Je vais à l'hôtel. I'm going to the hotel. Je vais au cinéma. I'm at the cinema. Okay. Je suis au cinéma. I'm at the cinema. But if it is, I am going to the cinema, just as I said the other time, je vais au cinéma. Do you see that? Let's take that again. Je suis au cinéma. I am at the cinema. Now, je vais au cinéma. I am going to the cinema. You see that? Then we have another one aside from a. Okay, we have another contraction in French. That's a combination of preposition de. Okay, and do in French can mean of or from. It's a preposition. So if you are at a place, so and you want to say that you are coming from that place or you are from a particular place, all right? So from the place, there has to be a contraction. So now let's consider it together. We have masculine singular, de plus le, that will give you do. Okay, for example, you are coming from the cinema, as we said the other time. You remember that cinema is masculine, all right? So it will be je viens du cinéma. Je viens now is I am coming, all right? Je viens du cinéma. I am coming from the cinema. So you cannot say je viens de le cinéma. No, it's forbidden. Then feminine singulier for the feminine singular, that one remains to de and la. It remains de la. Then before a vowel sound or silent H, de, L apostrophe. So we join it together, the plus L apostrophe, the L apostrophe. Then for the plural of all the categories, de and le, that will give you there, all right? De and le will give you there. So you cannot say de le. For example, you are coming from the United States or you are from the United States, okay? You cannot say, je viens de les États-Unis. No, you say, je viens des États-Unis. So there has to be a kind of contraction, okay, between the two constituent, and it will become there. Then we have an example there, je viens de l'hôtel. I am coming from the hotel, je viens de l'hôtel. All right, we have some other one. Now, I gave you this quick fact. One, I said that all French nouns belong to either masculine or feminine gender. Just as I stressed enough in the first tip, it is compulsory. Every noun in French has a gender, either masculine or feminine. Then the second one, all countries, continents, mountains, lakes, or rivers also take either feminine or masculine definite article. There is a reason why we are saying definite article there, okay? All countries, for example, France, la France. Now, you remember, we noted definite article, we didn't say indefinite article, because you cannot say en France, right? So, la France, France, that is what English would say France, but in French, there has to be an article, okay? So we say la France. Then, third fact that you need to know is that names of places such as cities, towns, and areas do not take article. For example, Paris, the capital of France. Paris, we have a lot of cities in France, Marseille, Toulouse, Bordeaux, Nantes. Those ones we don't use, even the cities in your own country, we don't use articles with them, all right? So Paris is Paris, Marseille is Marseille, all right? We only use the definite article with the country, just as we stated in the second quick fact. Okay, let's move forward. Then I gave you, we have some examples of countries on the screen there. We have masculine gender countries, le Canada, le Sud-Afrique, le Ghana, l'Angola, l'Israël. Okay, now look at it. Angola and Israel, they are masculine countries, masculine gender countries rather, and they start with vowel sound, okay? That means you have to learn it, all right? Because we also have some countries as well, some countries that start with vowel sound, but they are as well feminine, you understand? So we have both masculine starting with vowel sound, feminine starting with vowel sound. For that, for example, look at that, feminine gender countries, you have La France, La Gambie, La Chine, that's your China, l'Algérie, Algeria, l'Italie, okay, Italy. So look at l'Algérie and l'Italie. They are feminine gender countries, but they start with vowel sound, right? Then we have plural under there, pluriel, les États-Unis d'Amérique, okay, that's your USA, les Émirats Arabes Unis, that's the UAE, all right? So if we will be using a kind of qualification with them, okay, we have to have this contraction, just as we'll see in the next slide. So now I noted here that since countries are used with definite article they, these expressions, for example, look at that first one. I am going to Canada. How do you use I'm going to Canada? That will mean je vais au Canada. Just as we said the other time, you cannot say je vais à le Canada. There is a contraction already. Then the second one, that I come from Italy. How will you use that? In French, it will be used as I come from the Italy. Just like that one that I did there, even though in English, you cannot say I'm going to the Canada, but that is the sense that French has. I am going to the Canada. That's a French sense. Then for this other one, I come from the Italy. That is a French sense, okay? French will say that, je viens de l'Italie. Now, I let it hear that. Remember that cities do not take articles. So for that reason, I am going to Paris will be used as je vais à Paris. You cannot say je vais au Paris. No. Paris is Paris. It is a city, all right? It is not a country. Now, notez bien, note well, you can never say je vais aller au Canada, just as I've said before, because of the contraction of A plus le, which equals O. So you need to understand this French mathematics, as we call it here, okay, that A and le cannot stand together. It has to be contracted for it to become O. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. We have special exception, and I want you to take note. You know, I say that in your test, in your exam, what they are after is to look for loopholes about exceptions, all right, for you to test you if you are actually well-grounded in what you are learning or what you are saying. Now we have all feminine gender countries use on. Please note well. Yeah, I want you to pay attention, okay, at this point. In in French, when we talk about feminine gender countries, you remember for a country like La France, if you want to say to the France, all right, or at the France, or in the France, for example, you are in France, okay, and you want to say, I am in France, you cannot use Allah. No, okay, it is a rule, it's an exception. You can say that, all right? So you say, oh, that is the exception. So for example, okay, before we take example, we have enough examples. So, and I said that the above as well applies to all masculine gender countries that start with a vowel. Please note that not all masculine gender countries alone, but those ones that start with vowel are what we are talking about. Because, for example, we have a country like Canada, or Canada is or Canada, all right, or Canada. But when a country, okay, is starting with vowel sound, either it is masculine or feminine, when you want to talk about at the or to the, it will be en. En is what we use. For example, je vais en France. I am going to France. I am going to Angola. Je vais en Angola. All right? I am at Angola. Je suis en Angola. You cannot say je suis à l'Angola. No. Okay, I am in Israel. Je suis en Israel. You cannot say je suis à l'Israël. No. So you need to note these exceptions, specially. So there's another one that ils voyageront en Israël demain. Ils voyageront en Israël demain. They will travel to Israel tomorrow. Do you see that? So you cannot say à l'Israël. No. En Israël. It is a rule. Then the next one there. Notre président est en Égypte pour une réunion. All right? Notre président est en Égypte pour une réunion. Our president is in Egypt for a meeting. Do you see that? So in Egypt, right? You cannot say et à l'Egypte, no, because of the rule. So note the exception again that all feminine gender countries use en, then as well as masculine gender countries that start with vowel sound. Okay, only those ones that start with vowel sound, all right? And those are the ones that you need to pay attention to. Now, we go back to the questions that was shared on the screen before. Now, you look at the first one there, okay? We gave the answer that it is en, je vais en France, right? You cannot say je vais à la France, just as I said, so that's the answer, en, all right? And the second one there, mes amis voyageront, okay? Because Émirats Arabes Unis is what? It's plural. So you say that aux Émirats. Look at that answer. It is masculine plural, all right? Or plural rather. Then the third one there, nous irons au cinéma demain. We will go to cinema tomorrow, okay? Au cinéma demain. Then the fourth one, je reviens de la France, all right? Why are we picking de la France? Because France is feminine, all right? And the last one there, le premier ministre est à Paris, all right? Est à Paris, because Paris is a city, not Paris is not a country, all right? So that will not be applicable to the rule, all right? So you need to learn all these things. Now for you to keep getting all these videos, try to subscribe, just press the subscribe button. It doesn't take time, okay? And then feel free to share the link and as well like. Merci beaucoup. On se verra. Au revoir.